Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, All Things Mental Health. My name is Meghna Ravi, and for those of you who are new here, I started this channel to raise awareness and to talk about anything and everything about mental illnesses and mental health. So, as you can see, this week we are going to talk about 6 things that I think you should never tell a suicidal person. Before we get started, I'm going to give you a disclaimer that everything that I'm going to talk about in this video is very subjective to my own personal experiences and people that I've talked to, my friends, and other people that I know who have been through something similar. So, yeah, this is not universal. What I'm going to say here does not apply to everyone. But for the most part, like, this is generally what I have personally felt like, and what other people have that I know have felt like when they tell somebody they're suicidal and they get one of these things as a response. I wanted to start off my channel with a light topic because I thought, I probably shouldn't jump into suicidal ideation and all of that traumatic stuff. And I thought maybe I should start off with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. But then, given everything that has happened recently, in the Bollywood industry and just everybody, the way people are reacting to what happened is is just making me want to talk about this more than anything else. I will talk about other things in the future, but for now, I thought this needed to be addressed. So, first thing, you should never ever tell somebody who is suicidal, is having suicidal thoughts, or has had an attempt is think about your friends and family. I cannot tell you the number of times I get told this. So many times. People think that this is an okay thing to say, but it's not. Because there are two reasons for this. One, I did think about my friends and family. In my head, I am doing this for betterment of their life. Having a suicidal person in your close circle is very hard because they need a lot more attention and care than most of your friends normally do. And I know what my best friends and parents go through because of my mental health issues. So when I'm having suicidal thoughts in my head, I'm thinking this is good for them. They don't have to worry about me if I don't exist anymore, right? So yeah, don't tell people things like think about your friends and family because more often than not they are thinking about their friends and family, and that's why they're doing this. And secondly, you're making them feel bad. A person, when they're having suicidal thoughts and have come to a decision to end their life, they've already been through so much and they're in so much emotional pain, and you're just adding to it if you say things like just think about your friends and family, because that gives off a wrong message, because that makes them think that I am such a horrible person. Why am I thinking about my close family, my friends? Right. But that's not the whole point over here, is not to like blame them or to make them feel bad, because it just makes things worse for them. So yeah, don't ever say that, because that's just you're taking the focus away from their problems and putting it on what other people would go through if they ended up killing themselves. So just avoid saying this. I know it's like the first instinct for people because of the culture we live in. Like, I remember when I was in high school and I used to hear about somebody who has committed suicide or, has attempted suicide. And in my head, I used to be like, how can they do that to their family? And things have changed. I've been through so much in life in the past 5 years that I have changed what I think about these things. And it's okay if you've said this to somebody in the past. Just learn and change today, because that's what makes you the kind of person you are, not your past. It doesn't define you. All right. Second one. Why are you suicidal? You have everything. I get told this a lot by friends, family, people in my classes, just random people who find out that I have mental health issues, or, I struggle with suicidal thoughts. They tell me, why? Why are you like this? Like, you have everything. You have both your parents, you're in an amazing relationship, you have such amazing close friends and best friends, and you have such a great support system, you're doing so well in school. Why are you like this? This I hate this. I hate when people tell me that, because I cannot imagine. Like, I don't know, what am I supposed to respond to this with? Like, I'm sorry that my life might seem perfect on the outside, but I am dying on the inside, because that's basically what this is. Because that is genuinely how a person who is suicidal feels. Like, it's like being trapped inside this little hellhole and you cannot get out of it no matter what you do. And everybody thinks, why aren't you just getting out of it? Like, suicidal ideation, it's an illness. Mental illness is a disease. You cannot ask somebody with cancer, why do you have cancer? Will you do that? No, you won't, because it's not appropriate, and that's not how you respond to somebody who is going through something difficult, right? Just like that. There's no reasoning. And while there are factors that contribute to why a person feels suicidal, like stress, financial issues, family issues, those are just factors. Most people who are suicidal by nature, who are suicidal because of their mental illnesses, it's not a choice. It's not because something situational happened that they all of a sudden are suicidal. They've had these thoughts for a very long time and have felt this way for a very long time. So, yeah, like, don't ask them why, because it's not something we can reason out. It's not a problem we can sit and solve, you know? It's much more deeper and more difficult than that. All right. So the third thing is just be positive and happy. I get told this so much. And I know people mean well when they say this to me. Like, my own dad tells me this all the time. He's like, just be positive. And that's not easy. Like, if I could just be positive and be happy, you think I wouldn't do that? Like, I don't want to be in this pain. I don't want to suffer and struggle like the way I'm struggling right now. Do you think people with mental illnesses choose to be this way? Because it's not a choice. And even if it was, why would anybody choose this life? It's terrible. So, yeah, don't tell them to just be happy and positive, because it's not easy. It's very easy to say those words, but it just invalidates them more because it makes them think, why am I not able to do it? Why can't I just be happy? You know? But what you don't understand is there's a lot of biology and chemistry and so many things that go into why a person goes through mental illnesses and suicidal ideation. Like, you cannot just tell them to just be happy, because you're invalidating them. You're telling them that they can do this and they're choosing to not do this, which is completely not true, you know? All right. So the fourth one we're going to talk about is, you can't do this to me. Did you think about me? What'll happen to me if you died? This is something that you see in almost every aspect of life, taking the attention away from the problem at hand and putting it on something else, right? When a person who is suicidal confides in you or tells you that they have thoughts like this, and your first response is me, that's selfish. That is so selfish. Like, you're they're literally confiding in you that they're going through so much pain, and your response was to belittle them and tell them that, like, sorry guys, I am very emotional about these topics, but like, you can't just do this to me. Like, it's not about you right now. Yes, your life will suck if someone close to you dies, and everybody knows that. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Like, your feelings are valid too. Like, you panicking about, oh my god, what's gonna happen to me if my friend dies? That's true. That's valid. And you should get help for that. You should talk to somebody for that too. But the solution is not telling them that, because that just makes them feel worse. I remember when my family used to tell me this, all I could think of was, how am I this horrible of a person that I'm putting them through this? You know, I used to think this is my fault. I am doing something wrong. Why am I putting other people through this shit? Like, oh, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, but it's okay. But like that's just what it was. Like I didn't know what I was supposed to think, and I started blaming myself for something that I had no control over. So yeah, don't tell people this, okay? Because you're making them feel worse, and you're probably making the situation worse for them by saying something like this. So, fifth one, look at the bright side of things. People, like, another way of saying this is, you're so strong. I hate when people tell me I'm strong, and I hate it when people tell me to look at the bright side of things. People tell me that my trauma, the bright side of my trauma, my trauma and my past is that I'm so strong. And my first thought is I don't want to be strong. I don't want, like, if me not going through trauma meant that I won't be strong, I will choose that every single day of my life over this life. And I think people really have a hard time understanding that. Like, we don't want to be told we're strong. We don't want to be told, you're trying so hard. Like, just keep going and stuff like that. Because it's really hard to process that. Like, you're like, is it worth it? So, like, people who have suicidal thoughts and ideations, we have a lot of like what if thoughts in our heads. So we're like, what if that happened, or what if this happened? And one of the things that my brain like goes into a rant every time somebody says something like this to me is like, are they saying that it's a good thing I went through trauma because I'm strong? Like, that's not what you're saying, but that's what I'm thinking you're saying, right? So like when somebody is suicidal, don't tell them that, because it's hard. Okay, it's really hard to approach somebody with suicidal ideation. I struggle with it myself even now, even after I know all of this. So yeah, I'm not saying it's easy. It is very, very hard. Okay, but there are some things that you cannot say. There are things you can do to educate yourself on this. So the last and final one is, I'm here for you. You can always talk to me about anything. While this might feel like it's not something that belongs on this list, and it's something you're saying out of genuine concern. Like, I know when people tell this to me, they mean well. Like, they actually mean that, they care about me. But the thing is, this sentence is very empty. Like, people I have not talked to in 6 months telling me they're here for me, that makes no sense to me in that moment. Like, at that moment, I know you're just saying that because of the situation I'm in right now. You're not saying that because you really mean it. And even if you do really mean it, that's just how it's perceived. So when you talk to somebody suicidal, there are other things you can say other than these. For example, for the sixth one, you can say something like, have you tried getting help? Do you have the resources you need? Or like, have you tried talking to a therapist? Have you tried talking to anybody about this? Do you want to talk about this? And be prepared when you offer such help, because it's stressful for you and the other person to talk about things like this. So when you're offering somebody help, be prepared to offer that help through and through. You cannot just offer the help and be like, oh shit, this is so much bigger than I expected. I can't deal with this. That is horrible. Please don't do that ever. So, just think about what you say, educate yourself. If your friend confides in you, the best thing you can probably say is, I don't know what to say to you right now because I don't know how to handle this. But I really do hope that you start to feel better. You can ask them, is there something I can do to make you feel better? Because that's always helpful. Because more often than not, people who are suicidal have some kind of idea of what kind of support they want. So it really helps if the other person's like, what can I do to help you? So like, don't say these 6 things ever. I'm pretty sure the list is very long and there's like so much more I could come up with if I actually sat down and wrote it down. But, like, these are the 6 major things that kind of popped up to me when I was thinking about this video. Alright, guys, that's all for this video. I am sorry if it was really emotional and I got like hyper a few times on the video. I do tend to do that when I'm talking about something that I'm really passionate about and it's really close to my heart, which is what this video was. I'm so just, if you have any questions, comments, anything, please comment down below, and the usual, like, subscribe, share if you like the video and everything. But the whole point of this is to raise awareness, is to make more people understand what people go through, people with mental illnesses, people who are suicidal go through. And I hope I was able to make that point clear. And I do want to tell you one thing before we part. um the point of this video was not to attack anybody. If you have ever said something like this to me before, please don't take this as like a personal attack on you. That's not the point of this video at all. I'm not trying to tell you you're a bad person or anything. It's just there isn't enough education. There isn't enough material on this out there for people to learn and understand what to say and what not to say. Okay? And I'm just trying to provide that education. And if you've said this, just remember that it's okay. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to do anything about it. Just learn. That's the only thing I want out of this video, is for you to learn about mental illness and for you to not, please don't get defensive, is basically what I'm trying to say. And you're all good people. And the fact that you stayed this long to watch my video makes me really, really happy. So thank you so much for doing that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.